Kelsey Mitchell's situation is just getting worse.
And we just know Caitlin Clark is going to go with the flow. She's not going to try to cause any drama. She's just not going to rock the boat. It's not in her personality.
Kelsey Mitchell, get your people in check. You need to know. Not say anything to downplay Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark has never been afraid to speak her mind. And this time, her playful jab at teammate Kelsey Mitchell has fans buzzing. In a video that went viral across social media, Mitchell was caught moving a little too slowly in the Fever's time trials competition, and Clark couldn't resist. She reposted the clip and wrote, why is she moving in slow motion? Kelsey Mitchell, the goal is to go fast. It was lighthearted, it was funny, but it also gave fans a glimpse into something much bigger: the chemistry, the leadership, and the culture that's fueling the Indiana Fever's rise this season. So, while everyone laughed at Clark calling out Mitchell for her slow movements, there's a deeper story here about how this team is growing together. This moment between Clark and Mitchell wasn't just about jokes. It was about chemistry. When Clark reposted the Fever's clip of Mitchell in the time trials and called her out for moving in slow motion, it wasn't cruel or dismissive. It was teasing, the kind of jab you only make when you're comfortable with someone. That's important because it shows how quickly Clark, Mitchell, and the rest of the Fever have bonded. Remember, Clark has been sidelined for much of the season with injuries. She's missed 24 games, and yet she hasn't disappeared. She's still active, still vocal, still engaged with her teammates. Instead of retreating into silence, she's chosen to use her voice. Sometimes as encouragement, other times as humor. And fans love it. Moments like these also show that Indiana isn't just about basketball right now. One, it's about personality. It's about letting fans see behind the curtain. A viral clip of Mitchell moving slow in a playful drill wouldn't normally matter. But when Clark calls her out, suddenly it becomes a moment fans can latch onto, laugh about, and share. That's how team culture goes public. Of course, the irony here is that Clark called Mitchell slow, when Mitchell is actually carrying the Fever at lightning speed this season. Behind the humor, Mitchell is having one of the best years of her career. She's averaging 20.6 points, 3.4 assists, and nearly 2 rebounds per game, making her one of the top scorers in the entire WNBA. When Clark went down with her groin injury, a lot of people assumed Indiana's playoff hopes were dead. But Mitchell stepped up in a massive way. She became the go-to scorer, the offensive anchor, and the one player who could reliably create her own shot against any defense. Without her production, Indiana would have sunk out of contention weeks ago. Now, Mitchell is even in the MVP conversation, something nobody would have predicted at the start of the season. Her scoring consistency has kept Indiana alive in the playoff chase. So while Clark's joke about her slow movements got laughs, the truth is Mitchell has been the one keeping the Fever's season moving forward. And maybe that's what makes this dynamic so interesting. Clark, the flashy rookie, and Mitchell, the veteran scorer, finding balance between humor, respect, and shared leadership. When you look at the Indiana Fever right now, the story isn't just about Caitlin Clark or Kelsey Mitchell individually. It's about the formation of a true big three: Clark, Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston. And make no mistake, this trio has the potential to change the entire trajectory of the franchise. Let's break it down. Aaliyah Boston is the anchor in the paint. She's controlling rebounds, swatting shots, and bullying defenders inside. Without her presence, Indiana would have no interior defense or consistent inside scoring. She's the kind of player who changes the geometry of the court just by standing in the lane. Then you add Caitlin Clark. Her skill set is tailor-made for Boston's dominance. Clark's ability to hit logo threes forces defenses to stretch further than they want to, opening up space inside. Her passing vision, those whip passes, those cross-court lasers, keeps the defense constantly rotating. That means Boston doesn't just get the ball in traffic, she gets it in rhythm, in her spots, where she can dominate. And then comes Kelsey Mitchell, the wild card. Mitchell is the veteran scorer who can light it up from anywhere on the floor. She's not a role player, she's a closer. When the defense collapses on Boston, when Clark is double-teamed on the perimeter, Mitchell thrives in those gaps. She's the player who can take over a quarter, swing momentum, and keep Indiana in games when the offense stalls. Together, these three create balance that's hard to match. Boston inside, Clark outside, Mitchell everywhere in between. When they're all healthy and clicking, defenses face an impossible decision. Do you double Clark and leave Mitchell open? Do you swarm Mitchell and let Clark carve you up with passing? Do you sag on Boston and risk her torching you inside? But what makes this big three exciting isn't just their talent, and it's their chemistry. They're not just sharing the court, they're learning how to play off each other. Clark teases Mitchell on social media about moving in slow motion. Boston laughs at both of them, and the cycle continues. That banter might seem small, but it's massive for team growth. Chemistry isn't built in press conferences. It's built in those moments of trust, humor, and respect. Fans should be paying attention here. This big three is still in its early stages, still figuring it out. And yet, they're already making Indiana competitive in a league full of seasoned super teams. If they keep developing together, this won't just be a fun storyline. It'll be the foundation of a championship contender. Another huge part of Indiana's rise, and something that makes Clark's playful jab at Mitchell even more powerful, is the culture shift happening under head coach Stephanie White. When White took over, she made it clear. Rebuilding the Fever wasn't just about talent, it was about building a culture. For years, the Fever were an afterthought. Bottom of the standings, out of the spotlight, no real buzz outside of diehard fans. They were a team stuck in neutral. White knew if she wanted to flip that script, she couldn't just rely on wins. She had to create an identity, something that made Indiana worth watching even when the scoreboard wasn't pretty. That's where these behind-the-scenes moments come in. Fever time trials, practice clips, social media banter. They're not accidents, they're strategy. White and the Fever organization are leaning into their players' personalities. They're letting fans see the human side, the goofy side, the chemistry. When Clark roasts Mitchell for moving too slow, that's not just funny, it's branding. It's giving fans a reason to care, a reason to feel connected. And let's be honest, in the modern sports world, culture is currency. Fans don't just want wins, they want access. They want to know the players, laugh with them, see the inside jokes. Indiana is finally giving them that, and it's paying off. The Fever are no longer invisible, they're one of the most talked about teams in the league. Even while Clark has been injured, that's culture working hand in hand with talent. White deserves massive credit here. She's not micromanaging personalities or forcing players into robotic roles. She's empowering them. Mitchell is thriving as the scorer. Boston is thriving as the anchor. Clark is thriving as the face and voice. By allowing them to be themselves, she's created a culture of trust. And that translates on the court. This is why the Fever look like a team building towards something special. They're not just surviving season by season. They're establishing an identity, a voice, and a culture that fans can rally behind. And when you combine that with Clark's charisma, Mitchell's production, and Boston's dominance, you get a franchise that feels alive again. At the heart of all this is Caitlin Clark herself. Let's be real, she's the franchise player. She's the rookie sensation. She's the one with the Nike logo, the billboards, the endorsement deals. With all that attention, it would be easy for her to isolate, to become untouchable, to act like she's above the team. But she's not doing that. Instead, she's striking the perfect balance between star power and camaraderie. Yes, she's the face of the Fever, the one drawing national headlines, but she's also willing to poke fun at Mitchell, joke around with teammates, and stay approachable. That's huge. It shows she's not just here to build her own brand. She's here to build something with the Fever. Think about how important that is for team chemistry. A star who only thinks about themselves can create resentment, but a star who laughs with teammates, shares the spotlight, and makes jokes. That builds loyalty. That builds respect. And that's how you get a locker room to truly buy in. Clark's willingness to blend her spotlight with team culture is what makes her leadership so effective. She knows she's the draw. She knows kids are showing up in Indiana Fever jerseys with her name on the back. She knows she's the headline every night. But instead of creating distance, she uses her platform to lift the team's profile. When she jokes about Mitchell, fans laugh. And then they look up Mitchell's stats. When she hypes up Boston, fans realize just how good Aaliyah really is. That balance of being both the star and the teammate is rare. It's what separates icons from just great players. Michael Jordan had it, LeBron James had it, and now Caitlin Clark is showing she has it too. This is why the Fever's future feels so bright. It's not just about talent, it's about leadership. Clark is proving she can carry the spotlight without letting it divide the team. And that's exactly the kind of energy Indiana needs to go from rebuilding to contending.